Righty, I'm really excited to be starting this series. This is, like I said, the Back to Basics card bases series. I think that's what I'm going to call it. So each week we're going to be looking at a different card base, how you cut it, starting off with some simpler ones, and then as the weeks go on we will get a little bit more fancy, some fancy folds. So I thought start off with the basics. I have done a Back to Basics video on this particular card. This is just my standard card, piece of A4, cut it at 5 7/8. That gives you 2 card bases. Score them both at 4 1/8. And that is your basic side folding all that way card base. Dead simple. So if you want a top folding card, you take your piece of A4. This is Daffodil Delight. Yeah, Daffodil Delight. And this time you're going to cut it long ways at 4 1/8. Like so, again giving you 2, and you're going to score it now at 5 7/8. Fold that in half, and now you've got a card that opens the top way, which is what we're going to use today. So let me just score this one. So you've got 2 card bases out of every piece of A4, which is good. So the next piece you need to cut for this card is the same colour as your base, and it's going to be 8 by 8. So let me just open this out. So you cut that down to 8 by 8, and now you can get rid of the trimmer, and we're going to need the scoreboard, so bring that in. Now just a couple of score lines. You're going to score at 4 inches, rotate 90 degrees and score again at 4 inches. Now you need a score line that's going on the diagonal. So to get that, I just line it up with the 6 and use my ruler just to make sure I am straight down to the bottom as well. And there we go. So I'm just doing a score line all the way down the diagonal, like so. And we'll move this out of the way, and then just fold and burnish those score lines. You need to fold the straight lines and the diagonal one needs to fold the other way. Oops. Like so. So then you'll have that shape. Doesn't look like much yet, but we need to fold it up together. So you've got your straight lines and your diagonal, like so, and you just bring in the your square with the diagonal line going through it. Just fold that in half, and it will come down into a square like that. I hope that makes sense what we're actually doing. So I'll show you again. You've got your square You're going to score it at 4 and 4 on each side, and then score it across the diagonal, just one diagonal, and then fold it up and you get that shape. Comes up into a square. That makes sense? I hope so. Right, so before we move on, we're going to do a little bit of stamping on this section. So I've got Lemon Lime Twist, Daffodil Delight, and the Early Express I will use afterwards. So using the Floral Phrases stamp set, I'm just going to grab a block and I'm doing tone on tone stamping, so just going to stamp that image. On both of the sides that have got the diagonal. And you could, if you wanted to, stamp it all over, it'd be fine as well. In fact, I may as well, shouldn't I? And if it overlaps, that's fine. There we go. So we're going to bring in our top loading card, and basically what you need to do is adhere one of the whole squares down to your card. So we'll put adhesive on here, and just make sure that you've got it opening up the right way, and just center it up close to but not quite on the score line, and just centered left to right, about there. Just give that a good press down, and then just flip it over and big scissors trim off the excess. Now you're going through a few layers of card, so just take your time. There we go. And then put your adhesive on this side. And then just close the card over. And press it down, and then when you open it up, ta-da! That's what you get. So, kind of an exploding card, really, I guess. And that is our first card base in this series. So just to finish off the card, I've just got a piece of designer series paper, and we're going to go with that side. This is the Lemon Lime Twist, so we'll just stick that to the front. and I'm just leaving the front quite basic, I guess I could call it. I'm not doing any more stamping or anything on the front because the main focus of the card is the inside. Now obviously you need somewhere to write, so I've got a piece of cardstock that is 3 1/4 by 3 7/8, and that's going to go down here, and I'm going to stamp our sentiment on it first. This is the Floral Phrases stamp set. I can't remember if I said that. I'm going to use that one just to do a little pattern at the bottom, and then for all the thoughtful things you do, that one. So I'm going to do Lemon Lime Twist for the pattern, and that will just coordinate with the designer series paper that we've put on the front. I'm going to do that at the bottom and the top. Perfect. And then our sentiment in Early Espresso. And then you can just stick that down. Oops, nearly stuck it upside down then. And there we go. And you can, if you want to, add another piece up there, which I think I am going to do actually. As soon as we've stamped on the other one, this top one can be for you to write on who it's to. And this is the same size as well. 3 1/4 by 3 7/8. That just finishes it off quite nicely actually. And I've got a little bit of overhang there, I'm just going to trim off. Just make sure your edges are cut flush, and that is it for this card. So quite simple on the front, and then it opens up to a bit of a wow. I think you can't even see it all in one shot. There you go. So yeah, this is the first in this new series of videos. Every Saturday we'll be doing a different fold of a card, starting with, like I said, this one's pretty simple, and then as we go on they will be getting a little bit more fancy. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos in this series, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks very much for watching. See you.